Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to review the Almaden Valley, California real estate market analysis for August 2008. My name is Robert Whitelaw, and I'm a licensed real estate broker in the state of California, a member of the National Association of Realtors, a certified E-Pro, and the owner of Whitelaw & Sons Real Estate Services in Silicon Valley. Let's go ahead and jump right into the numbers. Now, what we're going to see first here are the inventory numbers for Almaden. And as you can see, we've had an increase. It's been a little bit irregular compared to previous years and a little bit of a different trend from other parts of Santa Clara County. While over the last few years we've seen a very steady and profound increase in the inventory, Almaden has actually managed to avoid some of the really dramatic increases that we've seen in other parts of the county. Now, from last year, from August 2007 to August of 2008, we've seen the inventory increase 51.9%. That's 40 more houses on the market in August of 2008 than in August of 2007, for a total homes on the market of 117. Now, if we switch our attention now to the middle column there, that indicates how many homes have been listed in the month. And you can see we've got a really relatively flat performance here. That's actually fairly good news. It's only increased 4.9% from the previous year, from August of 2007. That's only an increase of 2 homes. So basically we listed 2 more homes in the month of August in 2008 than we did in the month of August of 2007. That gives us a grand total of 43 homes that were listed in August. Now, and sales are particularly interesting. Again, very flat, 0% change. Same exact number of homes sold last year at this time as this year, for a total of 27 homes sold. Now, it's interesting to sort of look at these numbers. We can see sales are obviously off from, say, 2003, and then down more in 2004, down more in 2005, then sort of stabilizing through 2006 and dropping a bit more and then staying stable for these last 2 years. But really, the trend that we want to look at most, or the ratio really that I like to point to, is the one that exists between the homes that sell and the homes that are currently on the market. A lot of folks know it as the inventory number, or how long the inventory would last if everything stayed the way it is right now. So in other words, if we didn't increase our inventory and our sales numbers stayed the same, how long would it take to sell every home in inventory? And right now that number is at 4.3. It would take us 4.3 months to sell every home currently on the market if sales numbers stayed as they are right now. Now, that's pretty good. For my analysis, I'd like to think of anything from 5.5 up to almost 6 as high as you'd really want to be. And Almaden is definitely performing in an exceptionally good range there. To have only about 4 homes on the market for every one that sells is actually pretty good. So I don't think sellers need to really get too hung up on that. It definitely indicates that the market is moving along pretty well. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the same numbers, but just for past months, going back to May of 2007. This is the graph that really sort of reveals seasonal influences. We can see that during the wintertime, we saw our biggest drop in inventory. That's normal as folks take their houses off the market for the winter season. Now, from July of 2008 to August of 2008, we saw the inventory numbers drop by 3.3%. So that's 4 fewer homes on the market this month than last month. The number of homes listed was also down 20.4%. That's a drop of 11 homes from last month, and the sales numbers are also down 6.9%. Not a really big drop. That's actually only a net decrease of 2 homes. Now, what's interesting about this particular graph is being able to look at it and sort of get an idea of where we might be heading based on what we saw last year. Now, last year we can see we saw pretty similar performance from June, July, and August. Last year, numbers tended down into August. Same thing this year. Not the dramatic drops we saw last year, but still drops. When we look at the sales numbers from June, July into August, we can see that they were relatively flat, and then they started to drop in August. We saw that here as well. But we also see that if we take those as indicators of what the market might end up giving us in the following month, we can see that for the month of September in 2007, the number of homes sold substantially dropped. Now, I'm going to make a guess here and say that because of certain market influences that are floating around right now, that we may not see as dramatic a drop in September of this year as we did last year. And here's my reasoning behind that. First, interest rates are dramatically low right now. As I record this, we're about to hear from the Fed on what's going to happen as far as what they're going to do with interest rates. And the theory right now is that they're not going to do anything, or they're going to lower them. So I don't see any forces that are going to bring those interest rates down. Prices are down. We're seeing a lot more general interest on the part of buyers. I think that all spells probably a prolonged summer season for the area. So I would guess that into September we might see a little bit of a drop from the August numbers as relates to sales, but I don't think it's going to be as marked as it was between August and September of last year. But time will tell, and be a good indicator as to whether or not I am full of it or not. But I think that it's a good guess that we're going to see a pretty good performance in September of 2008 for Almaden Valley. Now let's go ahead and take a look at home prices. You'll see that we see a steady increase here in average price, but you'll notice the median remains relatively flat. That kind of gives us an indication that this might not be an actual true average. In other words, you shouldn't go out there thinking that the average home has suddenly increased by 9.7% when compared to last year. What this is really telling us is that we just happen to have a month where some higher priced homes have sold. Now, we had 3 or 4 over $2 million homes sell in Almaden Valley in August. That's just sort of helped to push that number higher while the median has stayed the same. So while we can say statistically, yes, the average is there, I would say from a pricing standpoint, if you're a seller and you're looking for where the average is, I'd say it's actually probably a lot closer to what it was last year, maybe just 1 or 2% higher than last year. Now, the average home price did increase 9.7% compared to the same time last year. That was a $110,652 increase. The average home price was $1,252,370. But the median only increased by 1.4%. That was a price increase of $15,000 overall. So again, I wouldn't take this as sort of a general indicator. I think what we had was an unusual month where some higher priced homes sold and sort of artificially boosted the average price for this month's statistics just a bit. Now, the highest priced home in Almaden Valley was on Woodview Place. It sold for $2,300,000. Its original list price was $2,598,000, and that home was on the market for 83 days. Now, the lowest priced single-family residential home was on Bertram Road in Almaden Valley. That home was sold for $425,000, and it was originally listed at $650,000. And this is a really good example of a home that had to chase the market down, unfortunately. It was overpriced to start. It ended up being on the market for 148 days, and that home probably could have sold a lot quicker if it had been correctly priced right when it entered the market. Now, the average price per square foot for August in Almaden Valley was $468.21, and we'll be able to track that number in the future and also get an idea of where that goes on a month-to-month basis. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the same numbers, just going back months again to May of 2007. From July to August, the average price, the percentage price change was 14.4%. That was an increase. Median price change was up 7.3%, and remember, that was a total of 28 homes sold in the month of August. Now, what does this graph tell us? We're looking back really at short term, so this is just month-to-month data. We can see that there's some fluctuation there. Some of those unusual peaks that keep popping up are months where we just had a little bit more of a lopsided representation of more expensive homes, particularly true of months like November, where you can see the median is far below what the average was, very similar to what August was. Other months where you can kind of see the same trend in play are really February through May. We've got some pretty big differences in those median and average numbers, indicating that we've seen a lot more of the more expensive stock, more expensive homes in inventory move during those months. But overall, it's really very flat. We're clearly not where we were in May of last year. But again, that was another month with a substantial difference between the average price and the median price. But if you just sort of get the trend here for these months, you can see it is relatively flat. It bows a little bit in the middle there, but it really is relatively flat when averaged out over the whole year. So not a real pessimistic view here as far as prices go, but we're not seeing, obviously, I don't think we're seeing as much growth as perhaps this month's average sales numbers might indicate. Now, let's go ahead and look next at days to sell or days on market. We see a lot of fluctuation here too, but a real steady increase from 2006 up to 54 days, which is what it was at in August of 2008. Now, the days to sell increased by 7 days when compared to the same time last year. That was a 14.9% increase. Now, the shortest amount of time it took for a home to get sold in Almaden Valley in 2008, in August of 2008, was 2 days. The longest days was 300 days. So this number is actually a little artificially high because we did have one home that was just way out there statistically. The next closest time it took for a home to get sold was 154 days, so half the amount of time was the next closest. So that 300 really kind of throws off the numbers for us. To put all this into a little bit better context for you, let me break down into smaller chunks how long it took certain properties to get sold. Now, it took 7 homes 1 to 7 days to get sold. 5 homes got sold in 8 to 30 days. 12 homes got sold in 31 to 90 days. And 4 homes got sold in 90 or more days. Now, 43% of the homes sold in 30 days or less, and 86% sold in 90 days or less. So obviously, for the average person out there, that 54 days may not be right on the money. In fact, if you went back and calculated the average days on market, if you omitted that 300-day property, would drop by 10 down to 44 days on average to get a home sold. And I think that's a much more realistic number for folks out there trying to calibrate themselves to their Almaden Valley market on how long it would take to get a home sold. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the month-to-month numbers going back to May of 2007. You can see we're actually in a fairly good position here. We're not at the lowest, but we're also not at the highest points we've seen looking back on previous months. Now, from July to August, the days to sell is actually down 1.8%. That's actually just a net decrease of 1 day. So while the percentage may sound bigger, the graph may make it look bigger, it's really just 1 day. So nothing to get horribly excited about, but still good news. We're not seeing huge delays. If your property is marketed effectively, so much of your success in today's market is really going to depend on the abilities of your real estate professional. So make sure and choose wisely. Now, if any of you would like to review any of my other market analysis or listen to my weekly podcast or read articles relating to real estate, you can find all of those at my website at www.soldbyrobert.com. If you'd like to make any suggestions, comments, observations, please feel free to send those to me via email at robert@soldbyrobert.com. Or if you prefer to talk to me directly via phone, please dial 408-852-0525. If you prefer online instant messaging, you can find me on AOL Instant Messenger, Google Talk, and Yahoo IM at the screen name The Rebel Broker. And if you're a Skype user, you can find me by searching for Rebel Broker. And of course, referrals are always appreciated. If you or anyone you know is interested in real estate in the Silicon Valley area, please feel free to give me a call, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, and I'll talk to you all next time.